doing okay, Yuki?
Yes.
Are you thinking about your grandbaby?
All the time.
Okay.
It's rather
Okay.
nerve-wracking, tell you that much.
And then I also think it's important, like when I worked with you, it's important to find out what type of methods your trainer is going to use. For me, I'm all about positive reinforcement. And so that means like, we want to meet our dogs where they're at. We want to approach training with a very positive mindset. We want it to be rewarding for them. Like we talked about, I mean, you would not train with one of these lovely things because they're too focused on them. This is something that you could maybe reward your dog with after training. But using training treats, right?
Yes.
To get them to focus, to desensitize certain behaviors outside, to get them to pay attention to you. Like what training methods have you used with your own personal dogs that you would like to share?
I use treats to reward their proper behavior
Right.
and learning things. I think the worst thing is to reprimand any dog if they're not quite performing to your
Right.
specification. Dogs are very loving, and all they want to do is make you happy. So if they do something and you don't reward them or at least show them that that's not the way by using punishment or something,
Right.
they're not going to really do as well as if you just use positive training with good rewards.
That's right. Yeah. Definitely wanting to use positive. I mean, I know for myself as a trainer, there are behaviors that we do want to correct. So it could just be a quick little correction to leave it, a no barking, and then you redirect and refocus. But yes, we're all about positive training because positive training is going to really help build a dog's confidence. And I think for clients too, it's like, what are your goals, right? Like I do a 6-week, 1 hour a week training session, but like figuring out, because each home is different, each lifestyle is different, like what would your goal be for your dogs? For me as a trainer, I'm very into safety for dogs. So dogs not running out the door. So working on boundary training at the door and also working on recall. Some people want, just socialization with other dogs. They want them to be around other dogs, walking around other dogs. I mean, again, it's depending on your dog, your lifestyle, and what you would like to see in the long term. Because for me and my experience, and I think you would say you would have the same experience, like there is no limit to what dogs can learn, and age is really not a factor.
Yes.
So you can train, starting at puppyhood, and you can train all the way up. I think the oldest dog I ever trained was 13 or 14 years old, and that dog learned distance stays for time. It was beautiful. So really being thoughtful about it, but there's so many different places that people can go. Private training does cost a little more money, but that person is coming into your home. And again, I find that training starts in the home because there's a dynamic in the home that the dogs will be affected by and be reactive to it's just their environment, right?
Yes.
But then you've got your pet stores, you've got your local parks like you talked about. There's so many places that people can find ways to train their dogs. It's really limitless, and so we encourage people to take advantage of it in their own neighborhoods. I feel like, am I saying too much?
Because
I want you to chime in, my friend.
You are the expert. What you say, it just flows in my ear and
Right, but you've
sticks
had
in my head.
training. I mean, you have to train. You've got two.
Yes.
Well, actually, you've got 3 big dogs, 2 small
Yes,
dogs.
uh-huh.
So let's maybe talk about some of the methods that you've used just on your own, some of the things that you've discovered that were super helpful.
Okay. Well, one thing though, when you do have multiple dogs, you can't train them all at the same time. You need to get their attention in order for them to learn things.
Right.
So you have to take your dogs out one at a time, be
Right.
one-on-one with your dog. That'll give you the best results. Because sometimes one dog will distract the other dog, and pretty soon they're just playing and everything.
Right.
You don't want that to happen. Take your dogs out one at a time if you have multiple dogs, and train with them and bond with them.
Right.
And if you notice the T-shirt that I'm wearing, it says LA Marathon. I trained and trained all the time to do this run, and I finished it. And that's very comparable to how you want to train
That's
your
right.
dog. You want to keep training and training until they learn what you want them to do. And you got to keep it up. You just can't do it once and think they got it all. You got to keep reinforcing, keep retraining. so that you'll always stay on top of the game.
I agree with you. You know, it's funny. I'll tell my clients it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, because I say that to them all the time. It's like people have to limit their expectations. You know, it's like, you know, I'm back in school. It's like I can't absorb all the information like in one day. You know, dogs are very smart and they'll pick things up quickly, especially like we talked about with positive reinforcement training. But you have to be consistent. It's that reiteration of those behaviors that you want.
Exactly.
It's positive reinforcement, consistency, strong boundaries. Those are the things that get the dogs to learn.
Yes.
And so, yes, it's definitely a marathon. You keep doing it day in, day out, and your dogs, it's amazing to see, especially our shelter dogs. They come out, a lot of them are shut down, very fearful. You know, they're not sure if they're staying in the environment that they're in, if that's their final home. And then you start to train them and you see their behavior start to shift. They become more confident. Tail comes up. They're listening more. They're making eye contact. Because some people will say, oh, well, you know, like training is mental. So what I'm trying to say is, like, you know, people get out, they exercise their dogs, or people have a large backyard. They're like, well, my dog has plenty of room to run around. But the training piece is the mental piece. It's what gets the dog to stop, to pay attention, to listen, to focus, and to make a decision, right?